flies, huge advantage there.
Absolutely. So looks like players are underway.
And they're both undefeated. Brian obviously has been playing Legacy for quite some time, has the proper colors for his dual land and his polluted delta.
Yeah, I would say that's a foreign black border if I had to venture a guess.
Can't quite make it out if it's foreign or not.
I mean, I've looked at enough cards in my life. I want to go with foreign black border. It's got the nice crispness of slightly newer, but with that black border still.
Turn 1 Planeswalker. Oh, I mean Deathrite Shaman.
3 abilities. Yeah, that's all that
And here
turn.
we go.
I don't know if
Just-
Brian wants to get rid of it.
He was thinking about maybe countering there. Delver does not flip. We have another Delver, though.
Did we see if that was the
looks
draw
like-
for the turn?
It looks like Brian is stuck on 1 land.
Ooh. That's not good.
I mean, if the Delvers flip, it can definitely add enough pressure.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's kind of a rough start. I mean, at least he's doesn't give it any more fetch lands to Deathrite in subsequent turns. But, I mean, you're really slowing your own game plan down. So.
And here we see the Ranger and the Symbiote come down. These are kind of some of the combo enablers for the Elves deck.
It's nice Brendan's able to use. It kind of looks like he only has 1 land as well, but it's much more useful in this case because Queer and Ranger to return it and make his land drop for the turn. Yeah, he's really just the combination of the Symbiote and the Ranger, and he's able to really just go crazy with that.
And the beauty with Elves is if it doesn't necessarily quote-unquote combo, it can just generate such an advantage that can go really wide really fast, and that's kind of what we're seeing here.
That's fair. He's already representing 5 creatures in turn 2 compared to Brian's 2 flying Delvers, thankfully now, but still.
Yep.
Yeah, so Brian's seeing a Green Sun Zenith, the 3rd Symbiote, and a Reclamation Sage. And follows up with a Cabal Therapy, getting rid of the strongest one. At least what he considers the strongest one. Would you consider that the strongest one?
Yeah, oh yeah, you definitely want to get rid of the Green Sun there.
Good. I was just testing you there.
Now we're off to the races. What was the draw there?
Yeah, Brendan is... his death rates aren't really able to do anything with both players light on lands. He only really has the Ranger as a way of generating additional mana here.
Looks like Heritage Druid was a draw there.
Heritage Druid or the Nettle Sentinel?
Oh, Nettle Sentinel.
There you go. Guess we're just attacking.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Brandon's definitely off to the races here. He's just trying to race the flip Delvers. He doesn't necessarily have, like I said, with the Cabal Therapy taking the Green Sun. It's just go wide, go fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brian being stuck on 1 land.
It'll be interesting to see if either player hits a fetch land, which is what happens with Brendan's board state or Brian's board state. I mean, it's really surprising. Legacy is a wonderful format where 1 land doesn't necessarily mean that you're out of it, and we do see the second fetch land from Brian, which kind of lets both players have a little more play with their hand.
So Brian now hitting the fetch land, unlocks the red.
Yeah, now that he's on 2 lands, we'll get to see. I mean, whatever else he has, he might.
He has a Snapcaster in hand.
All right. Snapcaster choosing.
Looks like he
probe,
wants to target the probe. And looks like Brendan's going to respond. Responds targeting the land.
Oh, So it looks like he'll be able to untap one of his elves and hit that with the Death Ray Shaman.
And then now he's going to go after the target of Snapcaster, the Gitaxian Probe.
Yeah. Masterfully played by Brendan there. And it's both these players sitting at 6-0 are no slouches, and it's good that Brendan saw that line.
Well, even then, you know, just kind of having Snapcaster down just as, you know, insurance, so to speak, to make sure he kind of wins the race here. Because Brendan, with that draw, does not look like he's going to be able to deal with the flipped Delvers.
No, he is precariously close.
And Snapcaster jumps in front there of one of the combo enablers of the deck.
And so we see the biggest power that was coming into the red zone leaving and putting Brian at 4 life. So 4 life, and
Brendan's going to be able to start using some of these elvish tricks to start gaining life to try to win this race now, with the Death Rites being able to trying to eat the creatures to kind of throw off the math here for Brian.
Absolutely. Brian's already needs 2 turns with what he's representing right now, and so his Death Rites untapping is going to definitely keep that at 2. Brian draws and tries to figure out what he wants to do to close
Brian's
out this
going
game.
through the math now. And then it looks like Brian's going to put on the brakes here and start trying to block some 1/1s.
That's reasonable. I can't tell if he's drawn any lightning bolts this game.
Yeah, he's got a force. I don't know if he has another blue card in hand. I can't see.
Yeah. There's a fetch land for Brendan.
But yeah, Brian realizing he's not going to be able to win this race with the kind of the Death Rites now being able to gain Brendan life.
Now with that fetch land, the life loss is something that the Death Rites can commit to without having to constantly eat stuff out of the graveyard. Or eat lands out of the graveyard.
And so it looks like Brendan has another Ranger and the Reclamation Sage.
So I'm looking at what Brendan has out right now. He has 6 possible attackers this turn. It really depends on what Brian's working with, because he might have a lightning bolt. But it could be possible that Brendan seals it up this turn.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
He should be able to. I mean, it also depends what Brian has here.
Right.
Yep. And Brian doesn't have any
he does
way
see
to
the
deal
line.
with any of those. As expected, Brendan cleaned that one up there.
Yeah,
and
that
like
was
I said, you know, Elves is one of those decks. It can either just kind of combo off all over the table there, and just drop, you know, Crater Hoof Behemoth and just run you over. Or as we just saw right there, it's fine. It's quick enough to operate on 1 land and just go really wide really quick.
Yeah, and it certainly did. I mean, there were 5 creatures on the board turn 2 off of 1 forest.
Yeah.
So that was just an absolutely exceptional showing for what Elves can do in terms of being a beatdown deck.
So kind of looking at the sideboard. Let's see what we got over here.
All right. Looks like Brian has a few options in his sideboard, starting with, looks like he has Grim Lavamancer as his as one of the options. Having that little stick to constantly shock elves, hopefully keep them at bay. There's a few other choices, like Trickery.
I like Electrickery here. As we saw on the board, there's a lot of X1 creatures typically in the Elves deck, so that's definitely coming in.
Especially
100%.
the engine creatures. Brian's really going to want to get the Wirewood Symbiotes off the board because they can protect the other elves, and Electrickery can wipe out all of them if it's overloaded. Beyond that, there's a few other creature kill cards. There's a Colligan's Command, which does have a shock factor, but is 3 mana, so might be a little expensive in this situation. Additionally, there's a Dismember, another 1 mana answer to any of the elves. It's 2 Diabolic Edicts, which might be a little too expensive, and obviously only hitting the other.
I don't like the edicts.
Yeah.
I definitely think the Colligan's Command is a strong consideration to come in as well, just because you just want the extra removal. You're fine getting into 2-for-1 situations. That's where you want to be with elves. If you start as a Delver deck, if you kind of get into those one-on-one, 1-for-1ing situations with elves, a lot of times an elf deck can just draw out of it.
Yeah. In terms of considerations to take out, I mean, I could see 4 days coming out super easily. And I saw 4 cards come in, so that's pretty cut and dry to me. How about your side?
So, well, we have kind of auto coming in. We have Choke. Choke obviously very strong against blue-based decks.
That's exactly.
We also have some Abrupt Decays that are probably going to come in. I could see maybe a Thoughtseize or Cabal. Not too sure. I haven't played it. I haven't played this matchup too much from the elf side. I've played it more from the Delver side.
Yeah, I feel like the Cabal Therapies and Thoughtseize are designed more for the common matchups. Obviously, elves as a basically green beatdown deck doesn't have so much disruption against them.
And I was going to say, I think kind of the point for some of that is when Brendan goes back on the play. You know, that seems stronger to kind of, you know, depending some of the hands that he might have open up on the play, especially if it's combo oriented, he might want some of the discard for that as opposed to being on the draw this game.
Okay. Yeah. So for the choices that you kind of made, what would you take out?
Where at?
In your elves deck list.
Oh, elves, probably probably some of the Nisses. I haven't played with elf list with Nissa Vital Force.
Okay.
So I'm not 100% sure how good that is.
It does seem expensive here.
Yeah, it seems very expensive here.
Yeah.
A Green Sun you got to keep in. Those are pretty good. You might be able to shave just kind of some of, you know, your 4-ofs in here.
Yeah, it's interesting that elves, despite being a relatively green deck, has a lot of non-basic lands in it with the bayous and the cradles. So yeah, when you talk about Nissa Vital Force being a 5-drop, it's just a little too expensive.
Yeah, Brian, what he's going to probably start looking at is he's going to, I mean, the Tombstalker is going to come out. You hate the key, so, and kind of, you have a debate, right, for both sides. A lot of times with Delver decks, you don't want to get 2-for-1 with Force of Will, right? Especially post-board. Force of Will is kind of a game 1 card for, you know, the glass cannon, so to speak, combo decks. Elves is interesting in the fact that we just saw you can kind of just go wide or you can just kind of combo off. So it's tough, you know. I definitely think some of the forces come out. I don't know how many Brian's going to cut. That's definitely on the chopping block, though. The Cabal Therapies 100% coming out of Brian's deck as well.
Looks like Brendan is mulliganing to 6. Didn't like what he saw. Interesting that we have the Elves matchup up, and Chad has been graced by the presence of an Elves Master.
Oh, yeah, no, I've definitely played this matchup multiple times from the Delver side, never from the Elves side.
All right, he likes his 6.
Whenever anything came to Elves for me, I would just call Matt Elias. Starting off with Probe.
Show me what you got.
Looks like a pretty decent hand, I suppose, with the Deathrite Shaman. We got a Glimpse if we start running the creatures. We got Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, he did bring in the Decay. It's a lot slower than the hand last game, and he's really looking to actually use a Glimpse of Nature to draw some cards instead of just going wide with 1/1s and 1/2s. Draws a second Abrupt Decay for the turn. So leads with a Deathrite Shaman. It's interesting.
That's going to meet a bolt quick.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, no, it doesn't have the bolt. Brainstorm.
Okay. Yeah, Brendan kept a threat light hand with the Glimpse of Nature and hasn't really drawn an elf to, if at any point he wants to try to use it to draw some cards.
It looks like Brian might have picked up a daze.
It's possible. It's interesting that Daze is still in there.
Yeah.
But I'll trust Brian.
Yeah, and there's the daze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Daze is typically going to stay in for the Delver decks on the play.
Okay.
And then, assuming Brian wins this game, we should see the majority, if not all, of the dazes come out for Brian.
Okay. See Wasteland get used on one of the targets in the deck, and yeah, Brendan drew a Ranger for the turn.
And Brian, recognizing that that's Brendan's only other threat, just decides the force of will there.
There you go.
I would believe that with being on the play and having the dazes in, Brian doesn't have the all 4 force of wills in, but it looks like, you know, again, it's because sometimes elves can just kind of regurgitate the combo on you super quick. You know, there's a consideration to keep, you know, at least a couple in. It looks like Brian also has another daze in hand.
Interesting. I mean, Brendan's kind of...
yeah, he picked up a Pendelhaven there. It looked like, yep.
He has quite a bit of mana. The dazes are going to run out real quick. I'm surprised that he went with the Cradle instead of the Pendelhaven there, just for mana generation purposes.
Attention players, the 5 p.m. Chaos Draft. Your parents are going up over by gathering point A.
And Brendan going to try to just find something else. And that puts Brendan in an awkward spot because if he pays the 1, then it's effectively countered anyway.
Exactly.
He wouldn't be able to follow up with a creature.
Yeah, it's interesting that when I talk about the sequencing of with Daze there, if he had held back the Cradle and not represented his land draw for the turn and done the Glimpse like that, may not have dazed.
And a young Pyromancer come down for Brian now. He just drew a Crater Hoof and 2 Abrupt Decay.
Thankfully, Pendelhaven allowing Heritage Druid to get past that young Pyromancer.
So Brendan's going to be pretty constricted in terms of what he can do this game, given the current state.
Yeah, he'll really need to find a black source if he wants to get rid of young Pyromancer.
A little bit at the mercy of his deck, so to speak, right now.
Yeah, that Wasteland from Brian earlier was a very good choice. You might see a few instants and sorceries get played here and really cause a ruckus for Brendan's ability to attack.
Snapcaster on the Ponder, and we're going to get some tokens rolling.
He likes what he sees. Oh, and another one.
Probe here. And this is what you want to be doing is with your young Pyromancer, kind of just generating these, running into your Gitaxian probes, generating these tokens.
Yeah, Brian seeing that Brendan's kind of stuck here right now, and hopefully because he kept with the Ponder that we'll see a lot of token generation as he keeps the engine running of Brainstorms, Ponders, and Gitaxian probes.
Brendan was kind of rubbing the card there, hoping for something to kind of get him out of this. He's got another body to the board, though.
Okay. currently has access with the lands themselves. He has access to 4 mana, so the Crater Hoof's not gonna come down anytime soon. I don't really count Brendan out of this quite yet. I don't know exactly what's in Brian's hand in terms of dealing with if Brendan has a real piece of action anytime soon.
Yeah, it's tough to see what's in Brian's hand. But that Pendlehaven's going to be used on defense. But yeah, Lightning Bolt, that's easily going to clear the path.
Yeah, that's really going to put Brendan back. He's slowly losing a grip on this game.
Brian, what are your last 2 cards? One of them is a Deathrite Shaman. That should help clean up the game. And Brandon kind of stuck with just 3 cards left in his hand that he's not going to be able to cast with the Crater Hoof and both Abrupt Decays.
Brian is
Brian's hand just off camera there.
Kind of thinking through before he gets in the red zone. The Pendlehaven obviously is creating a bit of a hassle. He had the Lightning Bolt the 1 turn, but
yeah, with pause here, I'm not sure Brian has a Lightning Bolt necessarily. He's attacking with the Snapcaster like he may have.
And he does like to block with the Ranger there. Hey, you gotta push through the damage.
He's just pushing through here.
Yeah, he's treating all of his other than the Young Pyromancer as a token generator and the Death Rate honestly creating more damage sitting back. Yeah, he's treating every creature just like a token swarm strategy.
Yeah. I mean, Brian's fine now just kind of serving in with tokens, using Deathrite Shaman to just continually drain Brendan. But again, you know, Elves is a deck where, you know, you can just randomly draw out of it sometimes.
It's true. So he drew Elvish Visionary for this turn. Just creates a interesting dynamic of how he wants to tap in order to, like, if he ends up returning the elf multiple times in order to kind of draw his way out of this.
Yeah, definitely don't count Brendan necessarily out of this one yet.
Yeah.
We see another Snapcaster.
Snapcaster Bolt. Yeah, so we won't get an engine running with the Wirewood Symbiote off the battlefield, but he'll at least get the card draw.
Yeah, that kind of helps prevent Brendan from drawing a couple cards there.
Looks like he drew Nissa Vital Force.
so the Nissa stayed in.
Yeah. Yeah. With the situation that Brendan's in here, do you think Nissa is his way out of this?
Could definitely, if it resolves. I don't know if what Brendan has or Brian has in hand, but that definitely seems like it could help shift this game. But Brendan, he's keeps drawing cards he can't necessarily cast yet.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian is just slowly taking away this game with his chain of cantrips. There's certainly an abundance of tokens on Brian's side now.
Yeah, and with another Ponder here, it's the card selection that Brian's able to look at right now is just really helping him.
So I mean, I feel like he does what he did last turn and just swings in with everybody in Snapcaster.
Yeah, like even Pyro's coming in.
Okay. Bringing everybody in, trying to close this one out. It's representing.
Yeah. And that's why I didn't think the Nis is going to be able to get cast here, because I think Brendan's going to have to at least throw one of these creatures out here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's just deciding to.
Yep.
I mean, he gets to save one of his elves, but he really just has to stem the bleeding at this point if he wants any chance of pulling this game out.
Yeah. So Brian could just have like a bolt here.
I mean, from all the instants and sorceries that he has in his yard, I think Deathray plus
this
the
is
token
probably Brendan's last draw step. The Dryad Arbor. Yep, I was going to say that's not where he wants to be.
Yeah, that's not the one you wanted.
So Brendan loses this game. So again, with play draw now, I think you're going to see some shifting in terms of some of the sideboarding again. I think Brian, you're going to see, the dazes come out. You don't want to be kind of returning a land when you're on the draw.
Right.
He might put like a Force of Will back in if he brought any out, just in case to have some of that extra coverage from the oops factor from elves. And then I can see maybe from Brendan's side, Cabal Therapy or Thoughtseize kind of coming in, definitely stronger when you're back on the play.
Okay.
So we're gonna have some re-sideboarding here from both of them, and kind of, as you can see, already going to the sideboards, and that's going to change a little bit of the dynamic of the matchup.
Do you think one of the discard spells is better than the other? Or do you have some sort of blend here?
That I'm not 100% sure. I would think Cabal Therapy would be pretty good if you can just kind of start stripping the hand. But the problem is you almost need like that blind. You need like the soul read, right?
Yeah, Cabal Therapy. I mean, Thoughtseize, obviously you're always going to hit something.
Exactly.
So it might be worth it. Elves doesn't have the issue where like the 2-life is like going to be as detrimental. Like obviously it is a deck that wants to win with damage. Sometimes it has a swarm strategy depending on the draw.
Yeah.
So the Thoughtseize's 2-life loss can be detrimental, but yeah, I think you want the hit over the ability to rebuy it from the graveyard.
I haven't played Elves enough, but I've played Cabal Therapy enough where I feel like I can read into their souls. So I would just play Cabal Therapy.
Just see the reflection in their eyes.
You got to give them like, you play Cabal Therapy, and then what you do is you wink at them. You make them think, then they're like, wait, what? Does he know what I have? And then you name the card.
Okay.
That's the play.
That's the play?
That's the play with
the
Cabal
wink.
Therapy. You give them the wink.
Give them the wink.
Give them the wink.
Usually I just name the thing that would beat me, but that's just me.
No, that's too easy, right?
Yeah. I mean, here it is. You name the card, and if they didn't have it, then you weren't going to lose to it, and if they did have it, now it's gone. Not that kind of dry, obviously, and it probably won't be for Brendan, but we can hope.
Yeah.
So who are you rooting for in the third game here, if you had to pick one?
I'm a Delver guy through and through.
You're a Delver guy?
Yeah, I'm a Delver guy through and through. I even when I played Grixis Delver, I played Grixis Delver when at one point we were playing Engineered Plagues to beat the Elves.
Okay.
Yes.
You have to go deep because you're on the back foot against Elves. So I'm going to pick Elves.
Yeah. I'm a Delver guy.
I like green creatures, so I'm going to pick Elves here. Yeah, Brendan didn't like that first
he's
hand.
going to have to mulligan here.
Go back.
Brian looks like he's keeping his 7.
Yeah, he likes his.
I mean, we've seen Moles' 6 out here just crush. So, and that new scry rule, you know, when you take a mulligan, definitely really helps.
Yeah, it definitely took the edge off of the 6. The 6 almost feels. Yeah, the 6 is absolutely better than it used to be in.
I mean, I remember when that rule first came into play, and that was almost the dream with Delver, right? You would mold a 6 with Delver, you would have turn 1 Delver on the play, but you would have scryed, you know that you have the sorcery on top where you don't maybe, and you put it to the bottom.
Yeah, that's all. So I just saw Brendan. He's mulling to 5 here. I saw him get. I saw Arbor glimpse of nature, and that's not really. That's not really panning out to be what you want to be doing. So hopefully he can find a 5 that's serviceable here.
Yeah, I think overall the Elves deck is favored. But, I mean, going down to 5 here, it's going to be a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he'll draw action in the way of Elvish Visionary to kind of draw himself out of the mulligan. But his hand here also featuring a Dryad Arbor. I can't tell if there's any or many other lands. Is this a double Dryad Arbor draw again?
It looks like it's double Dryad Arbor. Can't even say the card. Double Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, that feels like he basically rebought his 6-card hand as well without the glimpse. This is going to be, I mean, Brendan's really thinking this one because his 4 really better than just having 5 cards at this point. But not really the cards he wants, and going to 4.
Well, it looked like those were Brendan's only lands, and having lands vulnerable to one, not only Wasteland, but then to just Brian's removal.
Yeah, there's plenty of options. I mean, if he gets the Electricity off pretty early, he just takes out both of his lands, and he basically is handed the match.
And the problem with the Dryad Arbors is they don't tap for mana as soon as they come in.
Right. Yeah, it'll take until turn 3 before that Greenstone's can even look for anything because both the Dryad Arbors are already on the battlefield.
Well, all the Elves fans out there, if there was ever time for a crazy 4, they're going to be rooting for it right here.
That looks like a no-lander.
Nope. Is there a no-land 3 or 4 with the Elves deck that you could potentially keep and just hope to just like scry to the top, take the first turn off, and
with the Elves?
Yeah,
I mean, I do not.
Yeah.
I do not. I cannot think of anything.
Okay, land Symbiote Visionary. That's what we need for the 3 here.
3. Scry lands to the top so that he can Visionary on turn 2. Okay, I like that.
So like win percentage from here for Brian's got to be 99.9.
Yeah, especially with Dryad Arbor showing up again.
Actually, Brendan has a glimpse. If he can start just running into Elves here. I mean, he has 2 mana.
Brendan kind of laughing because Gitaxian Probe is only getting to see two cards on the first turn.
I mean, I also thought that the New England Patriots had a 99% chance to lose the Super Bowl. And then the Atlanta Falcons kind of won, so.
There you go. Electricity taking out the land. Land destruction works sometimes as with that card. And Brian's just going to deploy threats and try to close out this game quickly.
Yeah. This is not looking good.
Yeah, Brendan just holding back his symbiote so he can try to draw a card off it with Glimpse of Nature.
I mean, if the Delver never flips somehow, even though Brian has Brainstorm in hand.
He gets the land that he wanted. I mean, I expect Brian to have some sort of way of interacting here, but he'll at least get the draw trigger. Yeah. He sees a third land.
Let's just hope that Brian has no counterspell. Brennan gets the 4, just slams the natural order, and just crushes him with something. That'd be kind of ridiculous.
I mean, the only thing I really crush him with is Crater Hoof Behemoth. There's no Progenitus plan. There's no Hellkite Overlord plan. There's nothing like that.
If Brendan won somehow that way, would he then just go to Brian and say, "Hoof, there it is"?
Let's hope not.
Nah, that was terrible. Pun. Yeah, that was terrible. I was saving that joke, but I don't think we're going to see a Crater Hoof, so I had to like throw it terribly in there.
Yeah, not this.
Yes.
Not this match. Or even if we do, it's not going to close out the game.
And Brian just playing all the creatures here, really pressuring Brendan, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do much.
Yeah, he does have the 4th land for the natural order, though. I do want to see him just kind of play that card next turn, just kind of just because he can.
Oh yeah, no.
Create the hasty beater.
Oh yeah, you probably just play the natural order.
Yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, it might not be the correct play, but I'd run it.
Yeah, Brian in full control. I mean, it's always tough watching a game, right? Especially when you mulligan down to 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing that Brendan has some play here. Interesting that he searches for Dryad Arbor. If he does go natural order, he'll be able to attack with the symbiote as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Although now them's the beats right there.
That's a little bit of insult to injury.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Come on, Brian. Why won't you let him have some fun first?
There's that kicked electricity.
Yeah.
I mean, Brendan drew a land. He has a fetch land. He can get the black source.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, you can kill me, but I'm going to blow up one of your Delvers first. Your insectile aberrations.
He's going to take a Delver out on his way out. And that's, as an Elves player, life goal is to kill Delvers.
That's why they're in there.
That's specifically why he had to kill the Delver on his way out. Parting shot. And there it is. Brian easily takes down Brendan in game 3. Brendan, unfortunate, had to mulligan 3. Made the game a little less exciting there. And it looks like...
Yeah, we are we are aware of the situation involving overloading electricity. The producer did leave the area in order to check on that and try to... Unfortunately, because of Brendan's kind of backseat situation during this mull to 3, the players kind of went full speed ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, I don't think it would have mattered, but it definitely is kind of an integrity thing.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to see that Crater Hoof Behemoth make it there. All right, and we can see that he does not care about the electricity.
He was writing the thing down.
Yep.
Yeah, so